All right, Eagles fans, strap in because we've got a ton to unpack about what's shaping up to be a fascinating season for Philadelphia in 2025. After a Super Bowl win that sent shockwaves through the NFL, taking down none other than the Kansas City Chiefs, this team enters the new season with high expectations, but also some critical changes looming on both sides of the football. This isn't just about filling gaps. It's about sustaining a championship-caliber roster while navigating the inevitable roster turnover that comes with success. Let's kick things off in the trenches, where one of the most significant questions is who's going to lock down the right guard position. Last season, the Eagles found a diamond in the rough in Mekhi Becton. He was originally signed in free agency to be a depth piece at tackle, someone to bolster the bench. But then Tyler Steen went down with an ankle injury, and head coach Nick Sirianni floated the idea to offensive line guru Jeff Stoutland. Why not try Becton at guard? That move turned out to be a masterstroke. Becton not only adapted to the role, he thrived in it. After some rocky years with the Jets, where he never quite lived up to his first-round status, this was a complete career resurrection. But success breeds attention, and Becton cashed in with a deal from the Chargers worth $10 million per year. And while some fans think he was worth every penny, the Eagles' front office clearly had their reservations. Now the Eagles find themselves with a glaring vacancy at right guard. Tyler Steen, a former third-round pick, is an option, but let's be real, his performance so far has been a mixed bag. He's shown flashes, sure. In the NFC Championship game, filling in at left guard, he looked the part. But over the broader sample size, the analytics just don't back him up. Pro Football Focus gave him underwhelming grades across the board. Pass protection, run blocking, you name it. He didn't give up a sack, which is a plus, but the tape shows inconsistencies, lapses in technique, and issues with anchoring against stronger defensive tackles. That said, Steen has the athletic profile to develop into a starter. He posted an elite relative athletic score of 9.94 coming out of Alabama, where he primarily played tackle. Same story during his time at Vanderbilt. And as we all know, transitioning from tackle to guard isn't always seamless. It takes time, patience, and coaching. Three things Jeff Stoutland has in abundance. But Steen isn't the only name in the mix. The Eagles drafted Trevor Keegan out of Michigan in 2024, and while rookies are always a gamble, Keegan's physicality and pedigree coming from that Michigan offensive line machine give him a shot. Then there's Kenyon Green, a former first-round pick who's been, well, let's call it disappointing. In fact, he's been statistically one of the worst guards in the league, and that's saying something. Most of his struggles came at left guard, but the tape is brutal. Slow footwork, poor hand placement, getting overpowered in pass sets. Still, the Eagles may see him as a reclamation project. Another name worth watching is Matt Pryor, a familiar face to Eagles fans. Drafted late out of TCU and originally brought in as a tackle, Pryor reinvented himself last season with the Chicago Bears, this time at guard. And you know what? He didn't look half bad. He's got the size, and while he's not the most mobile guy out there, that actually works better inside, where he doesn't have to deal with speed off the edge. His Pro Football Focus grades were respectable, an overall score of 69.9, with a pass blocking grade of 78.1. That's solid. Run blocking was also serviceable, but it wasn't all roses. He gave up 7 sacks and committed 7 penalties. So you're getting a mixed bag, but maybe one with more upside than downside in the right system. And here's the thing, continuity matters. Despite the loss of Becton, the Eagles are returning 10 of 11 starters on offense. That kind of carryover is rare in today's NFL and a huge advantage heading into a new season. So while the right guard spot is a big question mark, it's the only real change on that side of the ball. The coaching staff, the quarterback, the weapons, those are all still intact, and that bodes well for Jalen Hurts and company as they gear up to defend their title. But while the offensive line shuffle is a major storyline, the defense is where we're seeing some even bigger shakeups. For starters, the Eagles will have to replace Josh Sweat, arguably their top edge rusher last year. Sweat's development was a massive win for the Eagles' scouting department. Drafted out of Florida State with some medical red flags, he blossomed into a force off the edge, putting up 8 sacks in 2024, 7 the year before, and 11 in 2022. He was versatile, explosive, and knew how to set the edge and collapse the pocket. He earned his payday elsewhere, and good for him. But now Philly's got to figure out how to replace that production. Brandon Graham is another name that can't be ignored. While he transitioned into more of a rotational role, his leadership and presence in the locker room were invaluable. Unfortunately, an injury against the Rams on Sunday Night Football cut his year short, though he did manage to return for the Super Bowl. His departure leaves not just a hole in the depth chart, but a void in experience and vocal leadership. So who steps up? Enter Nolan Smith. The former first-round pick had a quiet rookie year with just 1 sack, but he broke out with 6.5 in his sophomore campaign and added 4 more in the postseason. You saw the explosion, the bend, the closing speed. It's all there. If he can stay healthy, he's a prime candidate to become a star. And then there's Jalen Hunt, who came on strong late in the season and played a pivotal role during the playoff run. He was disruptive, confident, and frankly, he looked like a different player once the stakes got higher. Add to that new additions like Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, both with potential, both with health questions, and you've got a rotation that's deep, hungry, and built to get after the quarterback. Let's not forget about Antoine Powell-Ryland either. Drafted this year, he's been one of the most productive defensive ends in college football the past 2 seasons. He's raw, but the motor is relentless. If he can contribute situationally as a rookie, that's just more ammo for a pass rush that's suddenly become a committee approach. Now, pivoting to the interior of the defensive line, the Eagles are also moving on from Milton Williams, a player who quietly had a very impactful year. He signed with New England for $26 million per year, which tells you how valuable he became. But the Eagles might already have his replacement in Moro Ojomo. Talk about a breakout candidate. This guy is about to turn heads. Last year, he posted a Pro Football Focus pass rush grade of 82.6, which was top 5 among defensive tackles, despite being 64th in pass rush snaps. That tells you 2 things. He was efficient, and he was underused. With more opportunity, he could easily double his snap count, and the production should follow. His pass rush win rate? 18.2%, better than anyone else on the Eagles' defensive line last year. Pressure rate? Hurries. All the analytics are pointing in the same direction. Ojomo is ready to explode. But defense isn't just about the trenches, and the secondary has its own share of turnover. Darius Big Play Slay signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which means there's an opening at outside cornerback opposite Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles' top rookie corner who's already turning heads in OTAs. In some early clips, we've seen Mitchell matching up against Saquon Barkley in passing drills. Tight coverage, good instincts, elite footwork. The kid looks like he belongs. So who's going to be that other outside corner? Right now, the frontrunner seems to be Kelee Ringo. He was thrown into the fire last season when the Eagles' defense was falling apart under Matt Patricia, and while the scheme was a mess, Ringo showed some real promise. Physical, fast, aggressive, he's got the tools. Pre-draft, he measured in at 6'1", 207 pounds, and ran a ridiculous 4.36 40-yard dash. He's still only 24, younger than some of the rookies in this year's class, and his high-end potential is absolutely there. The projected trio for Philly's corners in 2025 looks something like this. Kelee Ringo and Quinyon Mitchell on the outside, with Cooper DeJean working as the nickel. Adoree Jackson and Eli Ricks provide depth, and that's a pretty intriguing group when you break it down. Young, fast, and built for today's pass-heavy NFL. And speaking of secondary changes, let's talk about safety. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is gone, and that loss is about more than just on-field performance. He brought attitude, swagger, energy. He was the guy who played like his hair was on fire, who talked trash, backed it up, and injected a sense of fear into opposing offenses. Losing that presence hurts, no doubt. At free safety, the Eagles are set with Reed Blankenship, who's quietly become one of the better players at his position in the league. But who lines up next to him? It'll come down to Sidney Brown or Andrew Mukuba. Brown is a straight-up thumper. He plays downhill, seeks contact, and can deliver bone-rattling hits. Sometimes that aggressiveness works against him, He'll take a bad angle or over-pursue, but you love the mentality. Mukuba, on the other hand, is quicker, more versatile, and has better ball skills. He can also line up in the slot, which makes him more of a chess piece, similar to how Gardner Johnson was used. We're not done yet. Inside linebacker is another spot to watch, especially with Nakobe Dean still recovering from that patellar tendon injury. He's been moving around well, even showing off some trick shots during team activities, but that's no guarantee he's going to be ready for the grind of the season. Zach Bond is expected to start, but who lines up next to him? The two main options are Jihad Campbell and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Both young, both talented, both unproven. Whoever steps up will have big shoes to fill. Oh, and don't sleep on the running back 2 battle. With Kenneth Gainwell off to Pittsburgh, the door is wide open. Will Shipley looks like the favorite to take that spot ahead of A.J. Dillon, but it's still early. So yeah, if you thought the Eagles were going to run it back without any drama, think again. This is a team in transition, but with the right tweaks, they might be even better than last year. And with Jalen Hurts still under center and most of the offense intact, the sky's the limit for Philadelphia heading into 2025 AV. As we continue diving deeper into the Philadelphia Eagles' evolving roster heading into the 2025 season, it becomes clear that while many core players remain intact, the team is entering a new era marked by youth, versatility, and the challenge of sustaining excellence. After a Super Bowl winning campaign, the expectations couldn't be higher. But in the NFL, success brings a price. Veteran departures, new contracts, and an endless pursuit of balance between experience and potential. The front office's blueprint appears rooted in 2 central philosophies: doubling down on athleticism and trusting player development. That's been a hallmark of this organization under Howie Roseman's leadership. Look no further than the secondary, with the departure of a veteran like Darius Slay has opened the door for young stars like Quinyon Mitchell and Khalil Ringo to shine. Both possess the rare combination of size, speed, and competitiveness that today's defenses require. Mitchell, as mentioned earlier, has wasted no time making a strong impression in OTA sessions. He's physical at the line of scrimmage, sticks to receivers like glue, and already looks like he belongs at the NFL level. Ringo's story is equally compelling. Thrust into action last year during a chaotic stretch for the defense, he managed to hold his own, showing flashes of the lockdown potential that made him a coveted prospect out of Georgia. Now, with a full offseason to prepare and a more stable coaching structure in place, he's expected to take a major leap. Another name that Eagles fans are going to get very familiar with is Cooper DeJean. A versatile defender who thrived in college as a do-it-all weapon, he's projected to man the nickel spot. But he's not just a slot corner. He's someone who can move around the formation, blitz off the edge, drop back in zone, and cover tight ends or shifty receivers alike. He brings football IQ, anticipation, and toughness, traits that make him a perfect fit for this Vic Fangio-led defense. Fangio's system, known for disguising coverages and rotating responsibilities post-snap, thrives on having smart, flexible players like DeJean who can adapt on the fly and give quarterbacks different looks. Speaking of Fangio, his arrival marks one of the most significant off-field upgrades the Eagles could have made. After a defensive coordinator carousel that saw the team go from Jonathan Gannon to Sean Desai and eventually to Matt Patricia, finally landing a coach with Fangio's track record provides stability and expertise. His hybrid fronts and emphasis on zone concepts should play to the strengths of this current roster, particularly with so many fast, rangy defenders in the back 7. The anticipation is that the defense will shift more toward a bend-but-don't-break philosophy, minimizing explosive plays and forcing opponents to sustain long drives. Up front, the focus remains on rotation and situational dominance. The Eagles want to bring pressure in waves, using depth as a weapon. Bryce Huff continues to be a fascinating piece of this puzzle. If he can take that next step, Philadelphia's defensive line could once again be among the league's elite. The linebacker position, long considered a weak point in this team's structure, remains fluid. With Nakobe Dean still recovering from injury, there's cautious optimism, but no guarantees. Dean has the instincts and intelligence to be a leader in the middle of the defense, but durability has become a concern. Zach Bond is the presumed starter next to him, but the competition will be fierce. Jahad Campbell and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. are waiting in the wings, both hoping to prove they belong. Trotter's NFL bloodlines are well known, and Campbell brings range and explosiveness. It wouldn't be surprising to see either player carve out a role early in the season, especially in nickel and dime packages. One of the more under-the-radar battles to watch is its safety. With C.J. Gardner-Johnson gone, the Eagles lose not just a playmaker, but a tone setter. His absence will be felt in the locker room and on the field. Reed Blankenship has stepped up as a steady presence at free safety, and he's earned the trust of his coaches with sound fundamentals and ball-hawking instincts. The strong safety role, though, remains up for grabs. Sidney Brown brings the thunder. He hits like a freight train and brings energy every time he's on the field. But his aggressive style can also lead to blown assignments and missed tackles. Andrew Makuba, on the other hand, is smoother in coverage, more balanced, and can be used in the slot or as a deep safety depending on the matchup. Fangio may end up rotating the two based on down, distance, and offensive personnel. Turning back to the offensive side of the ball, continuity remains a major strength. Jalen Hurts continues to evolve as one of the most dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks in the league. His leadership, work ethic, and on-field poise have earned him the full respect of his teammates and coaching staff. And with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert still in place, this passing game is loaded with weapons. The offensive line, even with the right guard spot unsettled, remains one of the best in football. Anchored by Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson on the edges, and with Jason Kelce's retirement finally here, Cam Jurgens is ready to step into the center role. Jurgens has been groomed for this moment, and there's full confidence he can handle the responsibility. The run game may look a little different this year, especially with Kenneth Gainwell now in Pittsburgh. That opens the door for Will Shipley to grab the RB2 role behind Saquon Barkley. Shipley, a rookie with solid vision, soft hands, and quick acceleration, fits the mold of the modern change of pace back. A.J. Dillon brings more of a bruising style, but his limitations as a pass catcher may keep his snaps limited. Either way, the Eagles want to keep defenses honest by mixing up their ground attack, and that versatility will be key in complementing their explosive aerial assault. What makes this entire equation so interesting is how Philadelphia seems to be threading the needle between staying competitive now and building for the future. The roster is full of young, hungry players with something to prove. Many of them have already been battle-tested in high-stakes games. That experience, combined with elite coaching and a top-tier quarterback, is a formula that could keep this team in Super Bowl contention for years. But make no mistake, the NFC is no cakewalk. San Francisco, Detroit, Dallas, and even rising teams like Chicago are all gunning for the top. The Eagles won't be sneaking up on anyone this time. Every opponent will bring their best shot, and that's where depth, preparation, and adaptability come into play. This isn't about just running it back. It's about evolving, staying one step ahead, and finding new ways to win. Ultimately, the success of the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles will depend on how well they can integrate their new pieces while maintaining the identity that got them to the mountaintop. That identity, physicality in the trenches, versatility on defense, and a fearless, composed quarterback leading the way, still defines this team. But it's the unknowns, the players stepping into bigger roles, the rookies finding their footing, and the bounce-back seasons from veterans that will determine whether this squad can repeat or even surpass what they achieved last year. And if early signs are any indication, the Birds aren't just resting on their laurels. They're reloading for another run. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors have begun swirling around the Philadelphia Eagles training camp after reports emerged that star running back Saquon Barkley may have suffered an injury during a recent practice session. While official statements from the team remain vague, several sources close to the situation suggest that Barkley appeared to be in discomfort after an awkward landing during non-contact drills. Eyewitnesses at the training facility claim that Barkley was seen limping off the field, assisted by team trainers, and did not return for the remainder of practice. Though there has been no confirmation regarding the severity of the potential injury, speculation is mounting among fans and analysts alike. Some believe it could be a minor issue, possibly precautionary, while others fear that it may sideline the Pro Bowl running back for an extended period. The Eagles' front office has maintained its usual stance of discretion, releasing no official injury report as of yet. Head coach Nick Sirianni, when asked about Barkley's status during a post-practice interview, offered little insight, simply stating that the team is monitoring all players closely and emphasizing the importance of player health throughout the grueling preseason. This development comes at a particularly sensitive time for both Barkley and the Eagles. After joining Philadelphia in the offseason amid high expectations, Barkley has been projected as a crucial piece in the team's offensive arsenal. His versatility as both a rusher and a receiver out of the backfield is seen as key to bolstering an already formidable offense. As the rumor mill churns, some insiders speculate that the Eagles may opt to rest Barkley for the remainder of training camp as a precautionary measure, even if the injury proves to be minor. Others caution against jumping to conclusions, pointing out that early camp injuries are not uncommon and often overstated. For now, Eagles fans are left in a state of anxious anticipation, awaiting any official word regarding the condition of their new star. With the regular season approaching, all eyes will be on Philadelphia to see how this situation unfolds. Until then, the whispers about Barkley's health continue to grow, fueling uncertainty and concern across the NFL community. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.